Welcome back to Guitar Theory Modules. This is Module 15 and we're on pages 48 through 50. In this module you're going to learn how to recognize and write minor triads in closed and open voicings. Like any other triad, the minor triad consists of three notes stacked in thirds. A minor triad has a minor third on the bottom and a major third on the top. In other words, the distance from the root to the third is a minor third, and the distance from the third of the chord to the fifth of the chord is a major third. And the fifth of the minor triad is always a perfect fifth. The only difference between a major triad and a minor triad is the third of a chord. The third of the major chord is a major third above the root, and the third of a minor chord is a minor third above the root. One easy way to write a minor triad is to write a major triad and then lower the third. So to change a C major triad to a C minor triad, you just take the third, the E, change it to an E flat. To change an F major to an F minor, you take the third of the chord, the A, change it to an A flat. And to change the A major chord to an A minor chord, you take the third of the chord, that C sharp, and lower it to a C natural. At the top of page 49, we have this major minor chord exercise number 1. Your job is to write each chord in root position. You'll write the major triad first, and then you convert the major triad into a minor triad by lowering the third a half step. If the third of the major chord is a sharp note, you're going to lower it by changing it to a natural. And if the third of the major chord is a natural, you're going to lower it by adding a flat. If you have my book, Guitar Theory Modules, you can write your answers right there in the book and check your work on page 215. If you don't have Guitar Theory Modules, you're going to need something to write on. I've got some free manuscript paper you can download from my website. I will leave a link in the description. We're going to go over these answers in just a minute, so pause the video, write your answers, restart the video, and check your answers. Number 1, a D major chord should be D, F sharp, A. For a D minor chord, we lower that F sharp a half step, change it to a natural, so now we have D, F, A. Now you don't necessarily need to write this natural sign in front of the F. I just wrote it so you can see the difference between the D major and the D minor. But if you're just writing a D minor chord out of the blue, you just write it D, F, A. No need for the natural sign. Number 2, a B flat major chord should be B flat, D, F. I've written this starting on a low B flat, but you may have written this an octave higher, and that's fine. To change that B flat major to B flat minor, we changed the third of the chord, the D, to a D flat. So now we have B flat, D flat, F. Number 3, E major should be E, G sharp, B. E minor, we lowered the third of the E major chord to a G natural, so now we have E, G, B. Number 4, C major chord should be C, E, G. To change that C major to C minor, we lowered the third of the chord, the E, to an E flat. Now we have C, E flat, G. Number 5, G major chord should have G, B, D. To change that G major to a G minor, we lower the third of the chord, the B, by a half step, change it to a B flat. Now we have G, B flat, D. Number 6, E flat major should be E flat, G, B flat. To change that E flat major to E flat minor, we lower the third of the chord, the G, to a G flat. Now we have E flat, G flat, and B flat. Number 7, a B major chord should have B, D sharp, F sharp. To change that B major to B minor, we lower the third of the chord, the D sharp, so now we have B, D, F sharp. Number 8, F major should be F, A, C. To change the F major to F minor, we lower the third of the chord, that A, to an A flat, and now we have F, A flat, C. At the bottom of page 49, we have a major minor chord exercise 2. Each triad in this exercise is written in root position. Your job is to name the chord and then label it as major or minor. Now, when you label a major chord, you only have to write the letter name of the chord. For example, a capital C would indicate a C major chord. And for a C minor chord, you would either write CM or CMIN, with the C being in uppercase and the M or the MIN being lowercase. If you have guitar theory modules, you can write your answers right there in the book and check your work on page 215. If you don't have guitar theory modules, go ahead and download that free manuscript paper I told you about. The link is in the description. I'm going to go over these answers right now, so pause the video, write your answers, start the video, and check your answers. Number 1 is an A major chord, A, C sharp, E. An A minor chord would be A, C, E. Number 2 is an F minor chord, F, A flat, C. An F major chord would be F, A, C. Number 3 is a D flat major chord, D flat, F, A flat. A D flat minor chord would be D flat, F flat, A flat. Number 4 is an A flat minor chord, A flat, C flat, E flat. An A flat major chord would be A flat, C, E flat. Number 5, G flat major, G flat, B flat, D flat. A G flat minor chord would be G flat, B double flat, D flat. Number 6 is an F sharp minor, F sharp, A, C sharp. F sharp major would be F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Number 7, E flat major, E flat, G, B flat. E flat minor would be E flat, G flat, B flat. And number 8, B flat major, B flat, D, F. B flat minor would be B flat, D flat, F. Just like major chords, minor chords can be written with closed voicings or open voicings. They can be inverted, and you can have more than one of the same note doubled at the octave. Here's a C minor in closed voicing with all the notes neatly stacked in thirds within the octave, and then an open voicing. In this case, I raised the third an octave higher. Here's a C minor in root position, C, E flat, G, root 3-5. First inversion, E flat, G, C, so the third is the lowest note of the chord. And then second inversion, G, C, E flat, the fifth is the lowest note of the chord. And these three chords are all C minor chords. They all have C, E flat, and G. Sometimes there's just more than one of each. On page 50, we have this minor triad inversion exercise number 1. We did something similar in module 14 with major chords. So your job is to name each minor triad and then rewrite it in first inversion and then in second inversion, just as you did in module 14. If you have guitar theory modules, again, you can write your answers right there in the book, and you can check your work on page 215. And if you don't have guitar theory modules, you know by now that I have some free manuscript paper you can download. The link is in the description. We're going to go over these answers now, so pause the video, write your answers, start the video, and check your answers. Number 1, this is an F minor triad. To change that to first inversion, raise the root of the chord, the F, an octave higher, leaving the third in the bass, or as the lowest note. And now we have a first inversion F minor, A flat, C, F. To change that into second inversion, raise the A flat an octave higher. Now the fifth of the chord is in the bass, the C. Now we have a C, F, A flat. Number 2 is A minor. To change this A minor root position to first inversion, raise the root an octave, and now the C, the third of the chord, is the lowest note, C, E, A, first inversion. To change this first inversion A minor to second inversion, raise that C an octave higher, Now the fifth of the chord, the E, is the lowest note. E, A, C, second inversion A minor. Number 3, G minor. To change this root position G minor to first inversion, raise that low G an octave. That leaves the B flat, the third of the chord, in the bass, or as the lowest note. Now we have a B flat, D, G, first inversion. To change this to second inversion, raise the B flat an octave. Now we have a D as the lowest note. D, G, B flat, G minor in second inversion. Number 4 is a B flat minor. To change this root position B flat minor to first inversion, raise that low B flat an octave. Now we have a D flat in the bass, or as the lowest note. That's the third of the chord. So we're in first inversion, D flat, F, B flat. To change that first inversion to second inversion, raise that D flat an octave. Now the fifth is the lowest note. The fifth is an F. We have F, B flat, D flat. So B flat minor in second inversion. Number 5, E flat minor. To change an E flat minor root position to first inversion, we're going to take that root of the chord, the E flat, raise it an octave. Now we have a G flat as the lowest note. G flat is the third of the chord. First inversion E flat minor will be G flat, B flat, E flat. To change that first inversion E flat minor to second inversion, raise that G flat an octave. Now we have a B flat in the bass, or as the lowest note. B flat, E flat, G flat, second inversion, E flat minor. Number 6, E minor. To change this E minor to first inversion, we're going to raise the root of that E minor, the E, an octave. Now we have a G as the lowest note. G, B, E, first inversion, E minor. To change that to a second inversion, we're going to raise the third, that G, an octave higher. Now we have a B in the bass, or as the lowest note. That's the fifth of the chord, so we're in second inversion E minor. That'll be B, E, and G. Number 7 is B minor. To change that root position B minor to first inversion, we're going to raise the root an octave so that B goes up. Now we have a D, the third of the chord, in the bass, or as the lowest note. D, F sharp, B, first inversion, B minor. To change that to second inversion, we're going to raise that third an octave. Now we have an F sharp in the bass, or as the lowest note. That's the fifth of the B minor chord. So second inversion B minor is going to be F sharp, B, D. And finally, number 8 is C sharp minor. To change that into first inversion, we're going to take the root of the C sharp minor, the C sharp, raise it an octave, and now we have an E as the lowest note. That's the third of the chords, so that's first inversion C sharp minor, E, G sharp, C sharp. To change that first inversion to second inversion, we're going to take the third of the chord, that E, raise that an octave. Now we have a G sharp in the bass, or as the lowest note. That's the fifth of the C sharp minor chord, so second inversion C sharp minor is going to be G sharp, C sharp, E. At the bottom of page 50, we have this minor triad inversion exercise 2. And again, you did something similar in module 14. So your job is to rewrite each minor chord so that it's in root position and add your sharps and flats as you need to. And name the chord and the original inversion, which is going to be either first inversion or second inversion. Watch out for open voice chords and notes doubled at the octave, and you'll handle all this the same way you did in Module 14. So if the chord is open voiced, move the notes around until they're all within an octave of each other, stacked in thirds. And if the notes are doubled, eliminate any doubled notes until you're left with 3 notes, and then if you need to, move those notes around until they're all stacked in thirds within the octave. And of course, if you have guitar theory modules, you can write your answers right there in the book and check your work on page 215. If you don't have guitar theory modules, download that free manuscript paper if you haven't already, and again, the link is in the description. We're going to go over these answers now, so you know the drill. Pause the video, write your answers, start the video, check your answers. Number 1, I can take the G at the top, lower it an octave. Now everything is nice and neatly stacked in thirds, G, B flat, D. The original chord is G minor, and it's in first inversion because the B flat, the third of the chord, is at the bottom. Number 2 is an open voice chord. I'm going to take the upper F, move it down an octave, and take that lower C and move it up an octave. Now everything is stacked in thirds, F, A flat, C. It's an F minor chord, originally in second inversion because the C, the fifth of that F minor chord, is in the bass. Number 3 has more than 3 notes, so you know something's doubled. We have an F at the bottom and an F at the top. I'm going to cross out the F at the bottom, and now we have a B flat, D flat, F, nice and neatly stacked in thirds. This is a B flat minor chord, originally in second inversion because the F, the fifth of the B flat minor chord, is at the bottom. Number 4, I can take that A at the top of the chord and move it down an octave, and now we have everything nice and neatly stacked in thirds with an A, C, and an E. This is an A minor chord originally written in first inversion because the C, the third of that chord, is in the bass. Number 5 has more than 4 notes, so you know we have some doubling here. We have a D and an F at the top. There's also a D and an F at the bottom, so if you cross out those top 2 notes and then take that lowest note, that A, move it up an octave, now we have everything nice and neatly stacked in thirds with a D, F, A. This is a D minor chord, originally in second inversion because the A, the fifth of the D minor chord, is at the bottom. Number 6, we can take the E flat from the top of the chord and lower it an octave. Now everything is stacked in thirds, E flat, G flat, B flat. This is an E flat minor chord, originally in first inversion because the G flat, the third of that chord, is in the bass. Number 7, we can take the G sharp at the top, lower it an octave, and now everything's stacked in thirds, G sharp, B, D sharp. This is a G sharp minor chord, originally in first inversion because the B, which is the third of that G sharp minor chord, is the lowest note. And number 8, this is an open voiced chord. I'm going to take the upper C sharp, lower it an octave, and then I'll take that low G sharp and raise that up an octave. Now everything is stacked in thirds, C sharp, E, G sharp. This is a C sharp minor chord, originally in second inversion because the G sharp, which is the fifth of the C sharp minor, is in the bass. Your assignment for this module is to practice writing minor triads, so download that free manuscript paper and print as much as you need. A good way to practice doing this is to pick a few notes a day and write major triads based on those notes, and then change those major triads into minor triads by lowering the third of the chord. From there, practice writing those minor triads in first inversion and second inversion, as well as closed and open voicings. You're going to see these chords over and over in this book and in your music, so the more you repeat all this stuff, the better. Most of the chords you play are going to be major or minor chords, so spend as much time on this module as you need to, and feel free to repeat those exercises on pages 49 through 50. Don't forget to check out my book, Guitar Theory Modules. You can watch all my videos for free, but if you do have a copy of Guitar Theory Modules, you'll have all this information in one place. It's going to be a lot easier to follow along, so I'll leave a link in the description. That's all for now. Take your time with this module, and when you're ready, I will see you in Module 16, where you're going to learn how to play minor triad arpeggios.